Alright, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to film this video. The cat is driving me up the wall. This might be my last attempt. But I am about a third of the way through the Dressrosa arc. I'm absolutely adoring it. I love how all these different plot lines are coming together and playing into each other. Oda is just fantastic at weaving in storylines, and I'm loving it. I really, really am. In addition to that, I now have a tinfoil straw hat, which I will be needing when discussing some of my theories or expanding upon some past theories. I'm just having a lot of fun with making some of my theories as ridiculous as humanly possible. All right, so jumping right into it, we have Luffy immediately threatening one of the seven warlords of the sea, or former seven warlord, as Doflamingo has abdicated the throne of Dressrosa and given up his position as a warlord. Now, Cap, no, we're not doing this. Luffy is completely pissed at Doflamingo for his involvement with the treatment of the Brownbeard pirates, as well as the experimentation of children back at Punk Hazard. And he's like, hey, listen, you kept up your end of the bargain, but we're not on good terms. You do something like this again, I'm coming after you. The same way he had no hesitation in threatening Big Mom, he's now threatening Doflamingo. And my god, does Usopp hate this. Like, stop picking enemies with these terrifying, powerful people. So they've agreed to take Caesar to the Green Bit to hand him over and go their separate ways. Now, we know that supposedly Doflamingo has abdicated as his spot as the Seven Warlord. We're also told that who the Seven Warlords are. So we got Kuma and My Darling Love Mihawk, and we got Boa, and who else? La's still listed, Doflamingo was still listed, but we also have Buggy the Clown, who is now going by, like, Buggy the Genius Jester, and, like, the cult of Buggy must have expanded, and his involvement with the Marineford incident must make him notorious, and gaining his notoriety and power. It's just like, oh, I'm going to love seeing where this goes. But during the conversation, when they're talking about the warlords, yeah, warlords, I gotta make sure I don't say emperors of the sea, they say these people, in addition to, like, the seventh person we previously talked about. So there's someone that's currently a warlord that I'm not aware of yet. We then cut to them into Dressrosa, and they're all kind of going their separate ways. We got some staying with the Sunny to protect it. Meanwhile, Luffy and his group are at a bar, just checking out the sights, being all touristy, not taking this mission very seriously. And they come across a blind man who's being taken advantage of at a, like, roulette wheel. And Luffy immediately is just like, hey, they're scamming you. You won. It's on the color you said, even though they said it wasn't. And when a fight breaks out, the guy who's blind is just like, well, there's only one way to handle this. I'm going to send them straight to hell. And he draws sword, and giant hole opens up, taking out the people who was cheating on him. And everyone's just like, what the hell? Zoro then realizes one of his swords are stolen, and he thinks it's the blind guy, so he chases after him. Same thing with the samurai, who I'm going to say Kinemon. I never did look up the correct pronunciations. And he chased after him because that sword was a cultural significance for Wano and a cultural treasure, so he doesn't want that lost. And Sanji also runs after him because he knows Zoro's going to get lost. Frankie also follows after them because where else is he gonna go? Robin is still with La and Usopp, who go off to the Green Bit, in addition to hiding from people who Robin thinks is after her, and there's something going on there. Sanji ends up breaking off from the group when he loses track of Zoro, but he says, I tried, because he gets distracted by a pretty lady who apparently has stabbed the guy she was in love with but cheated on her. And this is Violet, who he immediately is just like, what the hell, beautiful lady, love that. She uses him to hide from the guards who are chasing her by kissing him, so he's automatically in love. Now, I was ready to be annoyed by this section, but I absolutely loved it. I want him to get with some kind of just crazy psycho kind of person where it's just like stabbing people who anger her, so I don't know why, but I feel their dynamic just worked really well. They're both so chaotic. But then we find out that she is actually working for Doflamingo. So she betrays him. Initially, it's just like, oh, damsel in distress, come with me to kill a man. And he's just like, yeah, I can do that for you. You're beautiful. I'll kill a man for you. Then she's like, haha, you fell for my trap. Now I betrayed you. And he's just like, you're too beautiful to betray me. I believe that you are being taken advantage of, and this isn't who you are. You're not a bad person. And she's just like, you're a fool. Let me use my devil fruit power to see into your very soul. She's then disgusted by what she sees because, God, how perverted are you? However, I feel you genuinely want to help me and care for me, and I need your help. So let me take out the crew that I'm working for with Doflamingo, because I think you can actually help me take him down. So she's just repeatedly betraying whoever she's with. I love this woman. She's wonderful. Zoro is gone after someone because the townspeople had said that they thought it was fairies who took it. So he's still chasing after the person who has a sword. Meanwhile, Luffy and Frankie find out that there is like a battle royale coliseum fight going on with the winner of it getting Ace's devil fruit. So the flame fruit is up for grabs. And that's what Doflamingo had been luring Luffy with, thinking he would join this to get his brother's devil fruit back, and it makes complete sense. So Luffy goes undercover as this person named Lucy, and I love a good tournament kind of arc. So when he dresses up more or less like Master Roshi with the big beard, it was a nice little nod to that, I think. So he's gone in, and we meet so many different characters between the one working for the Blackbeard pirates who wants to take Ace's devil fruit. We're not letting him get it because Blackbeard needs to burn in hell, and he's not getting Ace's devil fruit. I will not allow that. Then you got this one whose name sounds like Cabbage, like a blonde guy who always got a rose with him, and he was like the previous generation's most notorious. Everyone loved him, and he loved the fame and attention, and he's upset with Luffy because now the worst generation, and Luffy specifically, has took all his fame, and people love him more now, so he's upset with that. There's a man who has a grudge against Garp, so now has a grudge against Luffy because he wants to enact revenge on like 3 generations. My absolute new favorite, or not new favorite, but favorite of this arc, I can't say his name. I'm going to accidentally call him Bartolomeo, and that's wrong, so it's like Bartolomeo or something like. He's also something the cannibal, so I'm just gonna call him the cannibal. I love his design. I love his spiky hair. I love his spiky teeth. He looks like he's terrifying. So he's like taken out pretty much like a vice admiral. He's taken out this guy who there was an alliance going on. He was like charging to make this ultimate punch, and he punches the ground and knocks everyone out of the area of the Coliseum, and it looks like he won. But then this cannibal guy has some kind of barrier fruit that protected him, and then he easily takes out this guy with this ultimate charge punch thing, and with everyone out in the water, he's just like pulls down his pants and just pees into the water on the people. Like, he is over the top. I'm waiting for him to be some sadistic character. But no, God love this man. He absolutely loves Luffy. I love him. I love him so much. Anyone who loves and is obsessed with Luffy and the Straw Hats, I love them so much. Like, this man was ready to cut out someone's tongue for daring to insult Luffy. He's ride or died, not even a member of the Straw Hat Pirates, just I will defend Luffy and his name. He is going to be the king of the pirates. I witnessed him back at Rogue Town, home of Gold D. Roger, the former pirate king, in his lowest moment declared he would be the new king of the pirates. Lightning struck down and saved him. This was a sign from the heavens, and I will worship this man. I love him. So I'll talk more about him afterwards. We get the, what's his name? The hyena? Bellamy, his name completely left my mind there for a minute, who has apparently gone to Sky Island, stolen or was given the golden pillar thing. I don't know if the people at Sky Island are okay, and that is really concerning me. I don't trust him up there, but I'm also kind of hoping that this fueled his idea of, before he was like all about don't have dreams and only the strong survive kind of thing and dreams are bad. I'm hope maybe that changed him, but he's still aiming for a place with Doflamingo and being in his family as an officer. So he's still a bad guy, but I'm hopeful that we're going to see a turn in him, especially considering after he lost the fight. So he's out of the running for the Devil's Fruit and can't do what Doflamingo said. And then Doflamingo was just like, hey, kill Luffy, and then I'll give you a spot of an officer, but he took too long and then was eventually betrayed and someone was sent to kill him. And then he was protected by the cannibal guy because the cannibal guy is also just like, hey, we fought in a battle, we're brothers in arms, I'm not going to let them just try to kill you like that. I realize I'm jumping a lot around in the story, but everything's cut back and forth, so it's just easier to talk about individual characters and what I loved about them. Oh, this is going to be chaotic if I haven't finished the arc. But no, it was just so much fun seeing all these characters and loving all these characters and seeing how they're interacting with each other. Luffy during this tournament arc is doing fantastic. Each is like a battle royale in different sections. So he easily is winning his competitions. At one point, he makes friends or tames this wild boar, and he's just riding it around the arena while everyone's fighting around him. He's having a grand old time, just having a laugh, until someone hurts this boar. And then Luffy gets pissed, moves the boar to safety, and immediately gets serious and knocks this other guy out. It's wonderful. Love it. The guy who has a grudge against Garp goes after Luffy, Lucy, I guess. All this time it's Lucy fighting, not Luffy, obviously. And the guy explains his backstory where he used to have this very pointy, like kind of drill head kind of thing. So he was a pirate who would steal all the treasure and hide it in this like ice fortress that only he could open due to his unique shape of head and technique. And when he fought Garp, he punched him and knocked him on the head to flatten it down, so now he can no longer get to his treasure and it ruined his life. And Luffy's response to this totally tragic backstory is just like, what's the big deal? Garp hits me all the time. So they fight. You get the armor hockey, I think it is, colliding. They both have, I think, the Supreme King hockey. That collides. It easily knocks everyone else out. But Luffy, of course, wins and splits the arena in half. But this also results in the pirate with a grudge against Garp getting the shape of his head back. So now it's pretty obvious that he's going to team up with Luffy out of respect and gratitude there. So Luffy is gaining more allies. We have the drill head pirate guy who hated Garp, and we have the cannibal guy. So I can see him expanding his crew, if not necessarily on the ship itself, at least his allies who be willing to fight with him. We are also introduced to a female gladiator. Is it Rebecca? I think it's Rebecca. Yeah. Side note, I had been considering starting to read the end chapter notes and questions from fans, because I was reading them at the beginning, then I just kind of stopped, because one of them caught my eye, and it was mentioning about this reporter who reported on the alliance between the Straw Hats and Law, as well as the new generation with the flying pirates guy and the card guy, and Kid, who starts with an A. That reporter, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I overlooked the name of the reporter who was mentioned in causing that scoop. Maybe I should start reading these guys again. Except then there was a question about whether or not this totally practical gladiator armor was wearing panties. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't really need to read those questions. That's fine. I don't need that. So she has this interesting backstory with a toy soldier. So throughout the Dressrosa, we have all these toys interacting with the humans. And you're not quite sure what's going on. They're living together but very separate. At a certain time, they have to go to a separate location. They're not allowed to live in a human home. I don't even think they're allowed to enter a human home. And this toy soldier had been raising and protecting Rebecca ever since her mother had died. He's the one who brought her mother back, and he's the one who taught her to fight before she went into this gladiator coliseum thing. So she's trying to win enough battles to get out of the coliseum. And we learn that from the toy soldier that every toy on this island was actually a person who who was turned into a toy, and they can keep their memories, or at least regain the memories of the person they were. However, every other person who knew them in life had forgotten about them. So this toy soldier was actually Rebecca's father, which is why he's so bent on protecting her and getting her out of this Coliseum. We are now going to enter my first tinfoil hat theory. Where'd my tinfoil hat go? All right, tinfoil hat is on. We have memory manipulation with the toys being able to remember who they are, but erasing that memory from every other person. I am going with, in my Roger is the ultimate villain thing. Yes, this is a game I'm playing. I'm twisting events to make Roger the ultimate villain. Him doing something to erase his memories, or the memories, or alter the memories of everyone who knew him and his legacy. So that's why we get some moments where Roger like slaughtered all these crew members, or Roger must have done something terrible. He could have done something terrible here to get the recognition of King of the Pirates. And maybe even he altered the memories of the crewmates who remember him as this, like, someone who would protect his friends and comrades. So maybe he's actually like a sadistic, terrible, evil pirate. And this has all been a ploy to change his perception. Does it really make sense? Maybe not, but I'm going to work with the idea of false memories going forward in the story. Whether that be for Roger or just something else going on, I'm going to lean into it. All right, Luffy in this Coliseum with Rebecca, we also have her doing whatever it takes to get a leg up on the competition, so it's pretty obvious she's not going to be able to take out Luffy. So she takes him for lunch, she feeds him, and then leads him to an area deeper in the Coliseum where she betrays him, and the people in the cells behind him like hold him back, and she tries to stab and kill him. Luffy immediately dodges this without issue, subdues her, and then just continues to eat lunch. And he's just like, all right, I get the idea. How can I help? And she's just like, I immediately just betrayed you and tried to kill you. And Luffy's just like, I'm alive. It's fine. How do we get you out of here? What are we supposed to do about your people and the fact that you're all slaves in this Coliseum? Is like, you fed me, I'm alive, I'm on your side. So I love that for Luffy. Even when he is talking to his crew and he's telling them about Rebecca, he's just like, she's so nice, she fed me 3 meals, I want to help her. Completely not even telling the rest of the crew, oh yeah, she did try to kill me this one time though. And I think that's just great for them. So he's planning to escape, and Bellamy the hyena is having just been betrayed by doflamingo, but saying, like, I'm not just going to help you. However, if you follow me, we can probably sneak out of here together, but not together. You're just following behind me. I'm not actually helping you. So Luffy is ready to give up on the Ace's devil fruit in order to go out and help save the rest of the crew, because currently, and this was all interchanged a little bit, back at the Green Belt, La had been already like setting up his master plan. So previously, for whatever reason, I thought it was Luffy who told Smoker that they were going to the Green Belt, but really it was La. La had did this in order to get the Navy to the island to help take down Doflamingo, because he knew he couldn't probably beat him on his own. So he had set up, if he was no longer a warlord, then the Navy would be required to attack him as well as just as a regular pirate. So that was really, really smart on La's part. Except Doflamingo is a rotten liar who never abdicated the throne, never gave up his position as warlord. This was all a setup to take down La and the Straw Hats. They put a fake news article out and then re-released later on in the press, like, oh no, he didn't actually leave the 7 warlords. So now we have the Navy, Doflamingo, and one of the admirals who happens to be that blinds guy, Fujitora, I think. They're all now in the Green Bit in a two-way fight. The Fujitora guy is just like, La, you're still technically a warlord. If you tell me that the Straw Hats were working under you, then I can step this one out. But if you say you were in a partnership and an alliance, then we're going to fight. So all La has to do is lie, but he doesn't. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about this, because part of me likes it like a mutual respect for Luffy and saying, no, we're in this together, not I'm above him, he's working under me. But at the same time, I feel like La would have, I don't know his character too well yet, but I feel like given how much he plans things out, I feel he would have taken advantage of that and would have lied to get the Admiral out of his fight, because his main concern is fighting Doflamingo. And it seems like he had purposefully avoided fighting leading up to this, saving his power to go after him, even though the main part of the plan was just to destroy the Smile Factory to put him in a position so they could take down Kaido eventually. But it really seems like his hatred is towards Doflamingo specifically. So we're in now a complete fight. The Admiral calls meteors down from the sky to smash into them, and leading to one of my favorite scenes, because both Doflamingo and La are able to protect themselves. So everything around them is completely destroyed, giant crater, except this little patch of land that they're standing on. And if that's just not a cool scene, I don't know what is. Previously, Usopp and Robin have both been kidnapped by, it turns out the fairies are real, or little people. And we got, what is it, Gulliver's Island or something like that, where a giant is tied up by these little people and all that. But this is quickly resolved, as they are just as gullible as many people are. As Robin, all she has to do is say, no, I'm not a bad big person, I'm a good big person. They're like, oh, okay, let's untie you. And Usopp had been telling them these wild stories about what a great warrior he is, and he's actually a descendant of Nolan. And Nolan being the guy from Jaya who had been looking for Skypiea because it had been shot in the air, and he had been executed due to his stories about a island of gold. Insert tinfoil hat theory again. The fact that we're bringing up Skypiea again, and Nolan, and his history, and him being a big liar about the City of Gold, why he was executed, really leads me to believe that the government, because it was the king who had ordered his execution, but they had purposely set up people in the audience to say they were like sailors with him and they never seen this gold, even though the true crewmen were saying he's not lying, that we were there, it happened. So it feels like they really wanted him executed. And I feel like they did this because they don't want people to know the City of Gold exists. The City of Gold is where the poneglyph is, which means I'm feeling like the world government orchestrated his execution to hide the fact that the City of Gold and the poneglyphs exist, to keep people from looking for it. So I feel like we are going to circle around back to the instance with Skypiea and Nolan again eventually. Now, the fairies, or little people, they have been orchestrating more or less a revolution and revolt and a war against Doflamingo. The reason that they had been holding off all this time and waiting for some kind of sign was they were waiting. The idea to do the revolution now was because they thought Doflamingo had resigned, and they were all crushed when it turns out he didn't. So they had been stealing all these weapons. And now that Usopp, who claims to be a great warrior and descendant of Nolan, is back, they're ready to go overthrow him, and also like save some of the captives that are being held by the Doflamingo family. Back to the fight with La and Doflamingo, that is just going terribly for La. Originally, I was kind of thinking why didn't he do like a swap, the heart soul swap between the Admiral and Doflamingo, but I'm going to work under the assumption he can't just do that when someone is vastly more powerful than him, or something like that. There got to be a reason why he wasn't able to use that technique. And it is actually Sanji who comes to the rescue, having been told by Violet what was going on, and intercepting and saving La, at least for a second. As everyone else escapes to the Thousand Sunny, La had called for them to come rescue him or come pick them up. They had been fighting like an art-themed villain, Picasso kind of going on, and got away from them. But they're not able to escape with La. So La ends up getting shot down back into the square by Doflamingo, and Luffy sees him fall and shot and beaten bloody. But we know La's still okay, because later Luffy says, I can still hear him. Now, that's when Luffy got to get out, because Zoro's pissed that Luffy entered the arena without him. He wanted to fight too. And Zoro ends up fighting the Admiral, and I do need to point out this. So I don't know if I actually don't think this needs the full tinfoil hat, because the Admiral has scars across his eyes, and they both clash on swords. And Zoro says something along the lines of like, this power, this something. What does he say? Yeah, Zoro says like, wait, that's, and he's kind of cut off, or he thinks it at least. And the Admiral's like, I have a feeling not saying that would be better off for the both of us. So both of them have a cut over. Zoro only has it over one eye. The Admiral got it over both his eyes. They're both fighting with swords. Maybe they both have a connection with Mihawk and some kind of power that involves sacrificing one or both of their eyes to get this power. There's some kind of power being used that Zoro sense. Should I have probably got the tinfoil hat out? Yes, because I realized I just want a recreation of the reveal of the Sharingan with Kakashi and the scar over his eye and finally revealing it. So, yeah, tinfoil hat probably should have been used. So they're gone flying off, and Nami and Usopp, I think Sanji as well, yeah, and are all heading off to the other islands, Zao, to where Law's crew is. And the reason they're making a run for it is because there are three things in play. The destruction of the Smile Factory, they're after Caesar, who can make the drug for Smile, and Momonosuke, the little kid of the son of Kinemon, who ate the man-made devil fruit back in Punk Hazard, but this one was different than the ones that Caesar had been making and actually transformed into like a dragon. So I guess mythical Zoan type man-made. They're after him for some reason, and I assume it's because of that ability to transform. So Nami makes a good point. We have two of these pieces that everyone wants. We have Caesar, we have Momonosuke. So let's get the hell out of here and not risk Doflamingo taking it. We're going to trust you guys to take care of the Smile Factory, which is a very good plan. So they're gone off, but not before Sanji asked permission from Luffy to take down or launch an assault on Big Mom, who has now come in and is attacking them. Because of course Big Mom is coming on during all this craziness. And Luffy's just like, I've already declared war on her, go for it. So he's going to go launch an assault on one of the warlords of the sea. Because why the hell not? And now we cut back to Luffy, who's trying to get out of this Coliseum. Bellamy has agreed to allow him to follow him to get him out, but he's totally not helping. And Luffy's just like, I need to help my crew. I need to go help Law. I need to get out of here because Law's been taken back to the castle by Doflamingo. And if that means sacrificing Ace's devil fruit, then I'm going to have to do it. It's more important. I would really prefer the guy from Blackbeard's team didn't get it, but my crew's more important. And the cannibal guy's just like, don't worry about that. I will get this devil fruit for you. This has always been my plan. I'm not going to just hand it over. And Luffy's just like, that would mean so much to me. Thank you. I love this cannibal guy. Only for someone else to come out and being like, oh no, that's going to be mine. And then we see these 3 cups. And oh my god. Okay. I was never under the impression that Sabo was dead. Not for a second. And I know it hasn't been 1000% confirmed, but it's the 3 cups. It has to be him. And I am so excited just because of Luffy, because he is a sobbing mess afterwards, saying I thought he was dead. And I love that. Like, if he's back and here to reclaim Ace's devil fruit and almost like continuing on his will, like they had said, like the will of a person will always be reborn and carried on by someone else. And for Sabo to carry on his brother's legacy and the fire fruit, that's just going to be nice. And we'll have an alliance for Luffy. He's got some family. It'll be good. I'm also working under the assumption that he had been rescued by Dragon because he had just met up with Dragon before his death, which means he's probably been trained by Luffy's father. So that's a nice little connection there. He is with Koala, I think her name is, and I'm 99.9% sure she's the little girl who had been rescued by the Fisher tiger. And that's just a nice to have her back because she was really cute as a kid and her backstory and history. And if she is also with Dragon in the Revolution, maybe she left her town and wants to help the people who saved her as a child, and she feels like her people betrayed them for doing such a nice thing, so she wants to bring peace. I don't know if the revolution is looking to bring peace, but definitely looking to overthrow the world government, so probably. That seems like something she'd probably be a part of. I'm very interested to see what she's doing. Going back to the idea of carrying on wills, so I do definitely like that idea in combination with the idea of people losing their memories when when people are turned into toys. Everyone else loses their memories, so you can't carry on a will if you're forgotten. So that might play into bigger themes in the series as well. Oh god, trying to talk about them as individual characters and what's going on with their sections was probably a mistake. I probably should have done this in chronological order of what was happening because I completely forgot to talk about the king. Okay, so in a flashback, we learn how Doflamingo came into power, and this plays really well into his speech back at Marineford about how justice is written by the winners and the strong, and because he, as king, and has rewritten a narrative where the people worship him as like a heavenly demon kind of thing and think he is all perfect and just when really he completely manipulated events to put himself in power. So the former king was just a just good guy who cared and loved about his people, but Doflamingo showed up and is just like, hey, I am going to conquer this island and your kingdom, but I'll sell it back to you for like 10 million or 10 billion berries, however many it was. And the king is just like, I don't have that money. And Doflamingo's just like, you have till sunrise to get it to me, or else like I'm slaughtering everybody. And the king goes to his people and is just like, don't ask questions. Bring me all your valuables. Bring me all your money. I need it now. Just trust me. And the people who love this king trust him entirely. So they bring all their money and valuables to the town square to unknowingly pay off this ransom. And the king is there and he's ready to hand it all over to Doflamingo for his people and his kingdom, only for Doflamingo to take control of the king and the soldiers and have him start slaughtering everybody. And the people are like saying, how could you? Why would you do this to us? Why would you betray us? We trusted you. And the king's just like, somebody kill me. I don't want to do this to the people. Someone stop me. So then Doflamingo and his pirates show up and they take out everybody. Some of them are slaughtered, some of them are killed, some of them are taken away to be turned into toys. Some are put in the gladiator arena, and some are forced to convert and join his personal guard. And now the people love Doflamingo for saving them. The king himself was taken and held hostage. And we learn Rebecca was the granddaughter of the king, and that's why her mother was killed and she herself was thrown in the arena as a way to humiliate her, as now everyone hates her and wants to watch and see her die. And if that does not make you hate Doflamingo so very much, on top of all this manipulation of events, he's a really cool villain. I really like him as a villain. I hate him. He's also a celestial dragon, because that's how he was able to get the newspaper to publish that he had left the warlords when really he hadn't. And that's just another level of this being the worst, most terrible villain ever. Oh, and I love Oda and the storytelling, and I want to see this man die. There is just so much going on in this first third of the arc, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. If I forgot anything important, I'll bring it up in the next video. I'm not sure if this is going to be 2 or 3 videos for this arc, but however many it takes, because oh my god, this has been a wild ride. I really, really want to watch this section in the anime, but I think people have said that even the ones who like the pacing, the Dressrosa is long and poorly paced, so I might do one pace. Do I have to download it? Can I stream it somewhere? I don't overly like downloading things. There's not that much space on my computer, so someone tell me how I use one pace. All right, I will check in later.